did something in the house, my son said, so I gotta go up there. You see, I'm going that way.
Right.
There's no garland. You can put it yourself.
Thank you, Margie.
Before you go finish, please go for me because I don't have time.
Yeah, the whole back, right?
Yeah. Usually I'll be sitting
I did the front already. I'll get
okay.
the back.
Only today because she's not there.
Oh, okay.
And I have to go. Glad you made it. Look. I don't know what happened to all the audience.
The what?
I don't know what happened to everybody today.
Oh, Dr. Ranjan will be right back. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaridhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaridhari
Jaya Gopi
Jasodanandana Vraja Janavandana Jasodanandana Vraja Janavandana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari
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 Gopi Janavallabha Girivaridhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaridhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaridhari
Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaridhari
Jasodanandana Vraja Janavandana Jasodanandana Vraja Janavandana Jamuna Tira
Kunja Vihari.
Krishna is the lover of Radha. He displays many amorous pastimes in the groves of Vrindavan. He is the lover of the cowherd maidens of Radha, the holder of the great hill named Govardhan, the beloved son of Mother Yasoda, the delighter of the inhabitants of Braj. He wanders in the forest along the banks of the river Jamuna. Just imagine that description and think of a burning bush as an idea of God, the difference. So rich.
What's the one Moses saw?
Well, I mean, I'm not saying anything bad, but I mean, if all you have is the burning bush.
He's saying that's their level of their realization compared to what we're studying.
So sweet and fortunate. Amazing, man. Just like imagine if Srila Prabhupada was living here at this farm right now.
Uh-oh.
Just imagine.
This temple room won't be empty, that's for sure.
How many thousands of people would come and live in this area? It'd be like Mayapur, Everyone's probably going to want to live there, Okay. Does anybody know the opening date of the temple?
Nobody knows.
Of the whole
They
facility?
just closed completely Bangladesh temple because 35 of them had it. So it's not like it's okay, no? It's not that time yet.
Yeah, I watched in the morning early, I watched from yesterday, on YouTube, they'll show you Mangal Arti, or they'll show you the greeting of the deities. And in the temple room, there's like a core of pujaris and maybe vanaprasthas that were in white. And in the beginning they were wearing masks, but now that, because it's just them, in this big huge temple room.
This is Mayapur?
Yeah, Mayapur. They don't wear the mask while they're doing deity worship. And there'll be like one person singing. And then they have these announcements. Sometimes the person doing the announcement wears a mask. Depends on who it is, but they have to, by law, the government law, they have to stay indoors. They're only allowed out for 1 hour a day. And so, but they all do a kirtan from their balconies. They don't come out of the apartment, but they just all sing around 5:30 in the morning, 12:30 in the afternoon,
Wow.
and 5:30 for 20 minutes.
Oh, 20 minutes, just 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes. And Maharaj, Thakur Maharaj is specifically stressing the 5:30 in the afternoon, because that's the most, the time when inauspicious entities are roaming. But so you see this big empty temple room, no one there. But then none of which, they're just working together, so they're not wearing masks.
Yeah. Makes sense. Please repeat. Narayanam namaskritya.
Narayanam namaskritya.
Naram chaiva narottamam.
Naram chaiva narottamam.
Devim sarasvatim vyasam.
Devim sarasvatim vyasam.
Tato dayam udiraye.
Tato dayam udiraye.
Please repeat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan.
One should offer respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead Lord Narayan.
Unto Narayan Rishi,
To Narayan Rishi,
the supermost human being.
the supreme human being.
And unto Mother Sarasvati, the goddess of learning.
To Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning.
And unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
And to Srila Vyasadeva, the author.
Shrinvatam Swakata Krishna.
Shrinvata Swakata Krishna.
Punya Shravana Kirtanaha.
Punya Shravana Kirtanaha.
Hridyanta Stoya Bhadrani.
Hriyanto Bhadrani.
Vedunoti Saritsatam.
Vinurati Sarityatam.
Please repeat. Shri Krishna,
Krishna,
the personality of
the
Godhead,
personality of Godhead.
who is the Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart,
Who is the Paramatma super soul in everyone's heart,
and the benefactor of the truthful devotee,
and the benefactor of the truthful devotee.
cleanses desire from material enjoyment,
cleanses the desire for material enjoyment
from the heart of the devotee,
from the heart of the devotee,
who has developed the urge to hear his messages,
who has developed the urge to hear his messages,
which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted.
which are in themselves virtuous when heard and properly chanted.
Please repeat. Nasta preshu bhadreshu
Nasta prayesu bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavatuttama Shloke
Bhagavatuttama Shloke
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam,
By regular attendance on classes on the Bhagavatam,
by the rendering of service to the pure devotee,
and the rendering of service to the pure devotee,
all that is troublesome to the heart
all that is troublesome to the heart
is almost completely destroyed,
is almost completely destroyed,
and loving service unto the personality of Godhead,
and loving service unto the personality of Godhead,
whose praise the transcendental song
whose praise the transcendental songs
is established as an irrevocable fact.
is established as an irrevocable fact.
Loving service unto the pure devotee. So, it's amazing, but when we first come to the movement, we feel like we have such a weight on us. It's true, all the karma, and there's no satisfaction out there. There's no happiness, and we're miserable, anxieties, and we're worried about everything. And all of a sudden, you meet a pure devotee, depending on how receptive we are, and depending on how much knowledge they share with us, how much blessings they give us. Just like the way he was talking about the first time they met Srila Prabhupada. Somebody had to say that it seemed like he was saying to me he was paying attention only to me, but they would all say that in class, And it seemed like he was saying, "Where have you been? Where have you been all this time? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 This verse deals with the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I just want to mention that the first verse we chanted mentions Srimad Bhagavatam, and then the third verse also mentions Srimad Bhagavatam that we chanted just now.
Well, the other verse mentions the author of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Narayana Namaskritya.
Yeah, and his messages are coming through the Bhagavatam as well. Yeah. I think, was it Bhaktisiddhanta or was it Gorkishora who carried the Bhagavatam next to his heart or something? I think the one dealing with the ghost seems like they would. You just see about the Bhagavatam. I haven't heard that so long. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, yeah.
There was they were worshipping a ghost in a tree, and then he employed a young brahmana, to recite the Bhagavatam, and then the tree fell down.
We have a lot of that around here too. A lot of big trees falling down. Please repeat. This is the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 8, Text 28. Praha Bhagavatam Nama Praha Bhagavatam Nama
Praha Bhagavatam Nama
Praha Bhagavatam Nama
Praha Bhagavatam Nama
Puranam
Brahma
Samitam Puranam Brahma Samitam
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Puranam Brahma Samitam
Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam
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 Brahma
Brahma
Kalpa
Upagate
Brahma Kalpa Upagate Praha Bhagavatam Namaha Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate Praha Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate
The third line there is Bhagavata.
Yes, well, this one doesn't have an A on the end of it here. In this book, it doesn't have an A on the end. Did someone add an A up there? Oh,
Maybe
okay.
that must be correct.
But it looks like we need a new pen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've been working on it.
Okay. Praha Bhagavatam Nama
Praha Bhagavatam Nama
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Brahmane Bhagavata Proktam
Brahmane Bhagavata Proktam
Brahma Kalpa Upagate
Brahma Kalpa Upagate
Praha Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Brahmane Bhagavat Proktam Brahma Kalpa Upagate
Bhagavatam Nama
Praha Bhagavatam Nama
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Brahmane Bhagavata Proktam
Brahmane Bhagavata Proktam
Brahma Kalpopagati
Brahma Kalpa Upagate
Praha Bhagavatam Nama
Brahma Bhagavatam Nama
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
Brahmanam Brahma Samhitam
Brahmane Bhagavata Proktam
Brahmane Bhagavata Proktam
Brahma Kalpa Upagate
Brahma Kalpa Upagate. Are they hard to find, the pens? Are they hard to find?
Yeah, the good ones. You have to go to Office Depot. If you buy all this junk, it will not last quite a bit. I've been bringing one here and there. I think like I will have some more, but I'm running low. Gotta go get them.
Is there one in town? Sorry.
No, there's none. You gotta go to Gulfport or you gotta go to
Okay.
Slide Down.
Sorry.
This week they can get it. I'll tell them to get it.
Office Depot's open then.
To get a good quality, you have to go there.
I heard the rental car business has gone, filed for bankruptcy.
What, in Slide Down?
Rental car. Just on the news, I was
Okay.
told about it secondhand. So, okay, that's it. And I guess, Praha, he said, Bhagavatam,
Bhagavatam,
the science of the personality of Godhead,
The science of the personality of Godhead.
Nama,
Nama
of the name,
of the name.
Puranam,
Puranam,
the supplement of the Vedas,
The supplement of the Vedas.
Brahma Samhitam,
Brahma Samhitam.
just in pursuance of the Vedas,
Just in pursuance of the Vedas.
Brahmane,
Brahmane.
unto Lord Brahma,
Unto Lord Brahma.
Bhagavat Proktam,
Bhagavat Proktam.
was spoken by the personality of Godhead,
Spoken by the personality of Godhead.
Brahma Kalpe,
Brahma Kalpe.
the millennium in which Brahma was first generated,
The millennium in which Brahma was first generated.
Upagate,
Upagate.
just in the beginning.
Just in the beginning.
Translation, please repeat. He began to reply to the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit.
He began to reply to the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit
By saying
by saying
that the science of the personality of Godhead
That the science of the personality of Godhead
was spoken first by the Lord Himself
was spoken first by the Lord Himself
to Brahma
to Brahma
when he was first born.
when he was first born.
Srimad Bhagavatam is the supplementary Vedic literature,
Bhagavatam is a supplementary literature.
and it is just in pursuance of the Vedas.
It's just in pursuance of the Vedas.
I'll read that again. He began to reply to the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit by saying that the science of the personality of Godhead was spoken first by the Lord Himself to Brahma when he was first born. Srimad Bhagavatam is the supplementary Vedic literature, and it is just in pursuance of the Vedas. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai Prabhupada.
Srimad Bhagavatam is the science of the personality of Godhead. The impersonalist always tries to misrepresent the personal feature of the Lord, not knowing the science of this great knowledge. And Srimad Bhagavatam is in pursuance of the Vedas and scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead. To learn this science, one should take shelter of the representative of Sri Shukadev and follow in the footsteps of Maharaj Parikshit without foolishly attempting to interpret, thereby committing a great offense at the feet of the Lord. The dangerous ways of interpretations by the non-devotee class of men have played havoc in understanding the Srimad Bhagavatam, and the careful student should always be alert in this matter if he at all wants to learn the science of Godhead. Translation. He began to reply to the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit by saying that the science of the personality of Godhead was spoken first by the Lord Himself to Brahma when he was first born. Srimad Bhagavatam is the supplementary Vedic literature, and it is just in pursuance of the Vedas. While we're on that topic, Prabhupada mentions in the purport, the dangerous ways of interpretations by the non-devotee class of men have played havoc in understanding the Srimad Bhagavatam, and a careful student should be always alert in the matter if he at all wants to learn the science of Godhead. So we can judge the, how does Prabhupada say it? The proof of the pudding is in the tasting.
Yeah.
You know, the quality. And I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking, well, how do you know who is going to cheat? How do you know who's going to change things? You know, and I was thinking, well, you know, some of those, I'm just saying, you know, they don't come necessarily dressed as a mechanic, a carpenter, a lawyer, a businessman. No, they'll probably come dressed in clothes similar to what we're wearing, perhaps. And if they, Prabhupada says they have no business sticking their noses into the Bhagavad Gita, you know, that's for devotees, that's for the Vaishnavas, real understanding. So, but we must be ever vigilant, not trying to be offensive to anybody, but we have to always be vigilant. Does this seem right? Let me read what Prabhupada says in his books. You know, that's all we need. You know what I mean? We know Prabhupada's a pure devotee, so we may be confused in so many ways, but Prabhupada says that I'm in my books, you know, I live forever in my books. And all the answers are in those books. Prabhupada says the dangerous ways of interpretations by the non-devotee class of men have played havoc in understanding the Srimad Bhagavatam. And these people, they'll come and they'll be acting very much friendly. That happened to me many times. And I said, what are they really after? What's the background here? You know, and tell you things like, maybe you should be initiated again, things like that. What is going on here? Why are they telling me this? And they seem like a friend. They're very friendly to me. But Prabhupada says that once we're initiated, we have a spiritual master, then it's a lot harder to cheat us, because if we're really dedicated to our spiritual master, then we'll just stay on that path. You know, one person one time told me, or is it, anyway, said that the spiritual master takes us along a path for a certain distance, and then after that, he gets himself out of the way. What's that? He's never in the way, he's guiding us, you know. So he gets himself out of the way, and then from there you have to figure it out on your own. Well, you know, I mean, that there is very blatantly wrong, of course. So if we're just simply surrender to our Guru today, and we read real knowledge, authorized knowledge, and in our case, we're very fortunate because Srila Prabhupada is leading us. We have no doubt the captain of our ship is very highly qualified. He would risk his life, you know. Some captains would jump, like in the passing Cape Horn. Back in the wooden sailing ship days, there was this one captain, and the whole time he had this rope tied around his waist. 3 times he jumped overboard to save people. And he must have been really strong. And the rope was tied to him, and then I guess he just pulled him back on board. And it's just inconceivable, you know, how tough those people were. And Srila Prabhupada, you know, loves all of us that much. And even if a devotee fell away, Prabhupada says that Lord Chaitanya, you know, can take everyone back to Godhead just like that, but I need all the help I can get, you know. He's not willing to let any of us go, you know. But, okay, Srimad Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Purana, or simply the Bhagavatam, has been called the Bible of the Vaishnavas, a vast and encyclopedic work. The Bhagavatam surveys a broad spectrum of knowledge, including history, psychology, politics, cosmology, metaphysics, and theology. The 19th century American transcendentalist Ralph Waldo Emerson once exalted the Bhagavatam as a book to be read, quote, on one's knees. That's beautiful. Vaishnavas teach that the profound revelation of the Bhagavatam was originally given by God to Brahma, the first created being, at the dawn of creation. Brahma conveyed the essence of this knowledge to Narada, and Narada passed it on to Vyasa, the compiler of the Vedic literature. Vyasa's place in the historical dissemination of primordial knowledge is significant. He is said to have divided the eternal wisdom of the Veda into 4 distinct sections. He then summarized the essence of Vedic knowledge into aphorisms known as the Vedanta Sutras. Vyasa, however, felt some despondency in his entire compilation and summarization of the Vedic literature. He had neglected to focus truly on the personal feature of the absolute truth. This was confirmed by his spiritual master, Narada, who told him that he, Vyasa, would be satisfied only if he would directly describe the name, fame, form, and activities of Krishna, the personality of Godhead. Heeding the advice of his guru, Vyasa compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the Vedic tree of knowledge, the king of books, the spotless Purana, as a natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. There were 3 subsequent retellings that enhanced the sweet flavor of the Bhagavatam. The first of these occurred at Badrik Ashram, high in the Himalayas. Vyasa was the speaker, and his son, Shukadev, was the chief recipient. The second time the Bhagavatam was recited, Shukadev was the speaker. Adding to what he had heard from his father, he recited the Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit, a great king who had been cursed to die within 7 days. Finally, the third retelling of the Bhagavatam took place in the forest of Naimisharanya on the banks of the Gomati at modern Nimsar in Uttar Pradesh. Here, 60,000 sages, headed by the saint Sri Shaunaka Rishi, assembled to hear the knowledge of the Bhagavatam. from Suta Goswami, a sage who had listened well when Shukadeva revealed the Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. It is the sum total of these three revelations that make up the Bhagavatam as we know it today. No other Purana has been summarized in as many forms or commented upon with such vitality. In addition to Sridhar Swami, one of its most important commentators, Vira Raghava Acharya wrote a significant commentary on it too. Sanatana Goswami, one of Sri Chaitanya's most distinguished followers, is said to have studied the Bhagavatam before meeting his master. However, after learning the sacred text from Mahaprabhu personally, he wrote one of his most memorable works, the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, a condensation of the entire Bhagavatam in story form. Other works by Rupa Goswami and Jiva Goswami, Sanatana's illustrious successors, also focus on the Bhagavatam. Most recently, the exhaustive commentary of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada has made the Bhagavatam clear and accessible for the modern world. Chapter 15, text 15, Krishna says, Savasha Chaham Giri Shani Vishto Matas Matarganam Aponam Shah Vedaish Chavas Saver Aham Eva Vedyo Vedanta Krid Vedavid Eva Chaham. I'm seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas am I to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. The Bhagavatam, its contents. The Bhagavatam asserts its unique nature at the very beginning of its pages. Dharma, Projita, Kaitavotra, all religiosity covered by fruit of intentions is completely rejected herein. 1.1.2. The commentators define fruit of intentions as kama, gross and subtle sense gratification, artha, economic development, dharma, ordinary religiosity, and moksha, liberation. Thus the Bhagavatam maintains the true religion which centers on bhakti, devotion to Krishna, transcends mundane goals, noble as those goals may be. The Bhagavatam focuses exclusively on the ultimate goal of life, love of God. I don't know if there's any connection, but, I'm thinking, well, no matter how, thus the Bhagavatam maintains the true religion, which centers on bhakti, devotion to Krishna, transcends mundane goals, noble as those goals may be. You can see one of the most noblest goals, arguably, trying to make our world population a population on this planet who can actually go to other planets, like Mars, Elon Musk, So it might seem very noble, but we have to understand, this is mundane, but as Clint Eastwood said in Dirty Harry, a movie, he said, a man has got to know his limitations. I always remember that. And so we see that we're trying to go to Mars, taking it very seriously right now. At the same time, I'm not saying it is a reaction, but we're in a worldwide pandemic. Maybe just to remind us, well, we're not supposed to be building stairways to heaven. we are supposed to be here, you know, and the most important thing is not trying to get out of this environment, which has everything we need for self-realization and to practice bhakti yoga. Why go to a planet where basically there's just nothing there?
Well, according to the scientists, the Prabhu said there's life everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
But to try to go there mechanically is, you know.
Yeah, it's very dangerous.
Well, it's like Prabhu gave the example of, I remember the king's name. He was trying to attain Indraloka, and his guru, Vasishta, said, no, you can't do that. You can't go there without first being qualified. You know, you can't just enter by, you know, just by, and, but then another strong personality, Vishwamrita, because he had some, he was in some kind of competition with Vasishta in a way.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get him to where he wanted to go, but he gave him some, he was powerful enough to create a planet in the southern part of the galaxy, which still exists. But then then the guru, Vishwamrita, lost all of his credits, pious credits, and had to start over again with more, you know, another 10,000, 60,000 years of austerity meditation. He did this 3 times. So you can't just say, okay, I'm going to go to a higher planet, and who knows what, maybe they're trying to go to a hellish planet. Who knows where they're trying to go. Don't worry, you can qualify yourself, you know, just by, you know, studying the Vedas and finding the correct procedure.
Yeah, it reminds me of when you're up there in the ice, you're up there getting crabs in the North Sea, whatever, off the coast of Alaska. One of the most dangerous jobs you can possibly do. I was shocked to find out that most of those boats only have one layer of metal between them and all that ice that's hitting against and all the ocean water. And it might just be 3/8 inch thick, you know. And some might be double hulled, you know. But I'm just thinking they're way out there in the ocean. And it's extremely dangerous. And ice hitting. And once you go down, I mean, once you start partially sink and the waves are sloshing you around, I mean, there's just not a lot of hope. So it's very dangerous. But why are they doing that? They're doing it for, you know, profit, you know. People are willing to risk their lives.
They don't know the goal of life.
Yeah.
So they think something like trying to go to another planet or exploit the planet for oil or something is a noble, but it's not.
Yeah.
They're wasting their time and everyone else is along with it.
The primary themes of the Bhagavatam are Sambandha, man's relationship with God, Abhideya, the process of awakening that relationship, and Prayojana, the goal of that relationship. The Bhagavatam elucidates these themes through a complex revelation that weaves throughout the traditional 10 subjects of Puranic literature. 1. Sarga, the primary creation in which earth, water, fire, air, and ether, as well as the total material energy, or the universal form of God, come into being. Visarga, the secondary creation, or the work of Brahma, the first created being. Sthana, the way in which the Lord maintains the universe by his multifarious potencies, with detailed descriptions of his energies. Poshana, the reciprocal relationship between God and his devotee, and the practices designed to promote that relationship. Uti, a description of the conditioned soul's impulses for material activities. Manvantara, the scriptural instructions given to the living beings of this world. Isha Nukata, detailed information about the personality of Godhead in its various forms. Nirodha, or the winding up of all energies in creation. God's potencies are described with special attention to the destruction of the material universe. Mukti, or the different kinds of liberation from the cessation of material miseries to the perfection in love of God. 10. Ashraya, the ultimate end of knowledge, the transcendence. The Godhead is described in full, the activities of Krishna being the crown jewels of the Bhagavatam's brilliance. And from the Nectar of Devotion, Chapter 15, Spontaneous Devotional Service. Examples of spontaneous devotional service can be easily seen in Krishna's direct associates in Vrindavan. The spontaneous dealings of the residents of Vrindavan in relationship with Krishna are called ragatmika. These beings don't have to learn anything about devotional service. They are already perfect in all regulative principles and have achieved the spontaneous loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. For example, the cowherd boys who are playing with Krishna do not have to learn by austerities or penances or yogic practice how to play with him. They have passed all tests of regulative principles in their previous lives, and as a result, they are now elevated to the position of direct association with Krishna as his dear friends. Their spontaneous attitude is called Ragatmika Bhakti. Sri Rupa Goswami has defined Ragatmika Bhakti as spontaneous attraction for something while completely absorbed in thoughts in it, with an intense desire of love. Devotional service executed with such feelings of spontaneous love is called Ragatmika Bhakti. Devotional service under the heading of Ragatmika can be further divided into two categories. One category is called sensual attraction, and the other is called relationship. In this connection, there is a statement by Narada Muni to Yudhisthira in the 7th canto, 1st chapter, verse 30 of Srimad Bhagavatam. There Narada says, quote, "My dear king, there are many devotees who first become attracted to the personality of Godhead for purposes of sense gratification, from being envious of him, or out of fear of him, or from desiring to associate affectionately with him. Ultimately, these attractions become freed from all material contamination, and gradually the worshipper develops spiritual love and achieves that ultimate goal of life desired by the pure devotee." The gopis may be considered to be examples of spontaneous love and sensual attraction. The gopis are young girls and Krishna is a young boy. Specifically, it seems that the gopis are attracted to Krishna on grounds of sex. Similarly, King Kamsa was attracted to Krishna because of fear. Kamsa was always fearful of Krishna because it had been foretold that his sister's son, Krishna, would kill him. Sisupal was also always envious of Krishna, and the descendants of King Yadu, due to their family relationship with Krishna, were always thinking of him as one of their members. All of these different kinds of devotees have a spontaneous attraction for Krishna in different categories, and they achieve the same desired goal of life. The attraction of the gopis for Krishna and the affection of the members of the Yadu dynasty are both accepted as spontaneous, or ragatmika. The attraction of Kamsa to Krishna in fear and attraction of Sisupal in envy are not accepted as devotional service, however, because their attitudes are not favorable. Devotional service should be executed only in a favorable frame of mind. Therefore, according to Srila Rupa Goswami, such attractions are not considered to be in the devotional service. Again, he analyzes the affection of the Yadus. If it is on the platform of friendship, then it is spontaneous love. But if it is on the platform of regulative principles, then it is not. And only when affection comes to the platform of spontaneous love is it counted in the category of pure devotional service. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Prabhu said that pure devotional service is very confidential. He said one has to follow a pure devotee. So that's something to think about. It's very, very confidential. All glories to simple devotees, all glories to Parampara, all glories to Shri Gauranitai, Shri Shri Radha Radha Kanta, all glories to New Talavana Ki Jai. Glories to Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you all for showing up, as you always do.
Thank you, Prabhu.